Like, if this was the final product, how do you feel it? It's really good prototyping, and we use it a lot. It's free.
What was the name again?
Round Me. You see the logo up there? And you can kind of see an example here of how it lets you do that. So, kind of break down that process. Take your Gear 360 on your monopod or tripod or whatever, and pair it with your smartphone to look around and choose, okay, this is where I think I want to do it. And then shoot everything you can. Shoot it. Give yourself options. Then stitch it with your phone or pull it into the computer. Samsung Gear 360 has an app on the computer that you can stitch it as well to get a higher quality. And then you can take that, pull it into Premiere, or pull it into Round Me, and look at it in your headset. And once you get it in your headset, then you'll really know, okay, is this what I want to do? And you can also just look at it on the computer if you want, but I like to put it in a headset.
If you have something that's blown out, like in 360 or in regular video, you edit the whole image, right? But in this stuff, do you edit in pieces, like areas, or?
Yeah, so basically, what I would do, now, with this camera, your options are limited because there are only two lenses, there are two images to deal with. So basically what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna point one of the lenses towards the thing that's bright and the other lens towards the other side, the thing that's not bright, so that you can just edit what's coming into that camera.
But you can't edit like a certain area, or you
I mean, you can do it in After Effects, but if it's blown out, then you're just not getting that information. So you're gonna want to possibly, if it's, like from that image it was pretty blown out, you're probably gonna wanna film it at a different time, or what you're gonna do is take two shots, same shot, one that's lower exposure and one that's higher exposure. And then you can blend those two together in the way that you're saying, just that small little spot. And we'll show kind of like how we do that in After Effects in a little bit. All right, the camera has almost come back all the way. Did you want to see it?
Question.
Yeah.
Does this camera pick up audio as well? Or?
It does pick up audio as well, yeah. All right, so we use this camera to make some decisions. We cut together a storyboard. The client and our other producers are happy with it. We're happy with it, most importantly. And we're ready to shoot this thing. So here's the most important question that people ask me. What camera do you like to use? Now, I know earlier I said that I really like to use this camera, but that's just because it gets the most use. Because I use it for everything. I use it for going on trips. I use it for professional stuff. I use it for experiments. But my favorite camera really isn't a question. It's really, you have to, in this medium, you have to look at all the camera options and decide what's best for the project. We have used, seriously, I'm not joking, we've used a different camera on every single project that we've worked on. Is what's happening going to be close to is it near field action or is it far action? Is it remote? Are you going to be out like in the woods? Like for the Wildlands project, I was out in crazy places all over the country, and having something that needed to be plugged in, like this camera right here, the Z-Cam, that was not an option. The other thing about these cameras is they all have different proprietary softwares and menu systems that you just kind of need to get a handle on. For example, this Samsung Gear 360 in the menu has an option to choose the quality of the video. I mean, I've never chose the low quality. Like, I don't know why it's there. All it has done is messed me up a bunch of times. We were skiing down the side of a mountain in Colorado, and they got to the bottom, and they were like, "Man, it was so awesome!" And I'm like, "Great!" And I open it up, and it's like low quality, and I'm like, "Yeah." Gotta know how to use the camera, and make sure you come up with that camera checklist, you know? Gotta do this, gotta do that. That's why you need rapid prototyping, so you can create that list.
I think, for me, the really important question is how do you help a client understand the budget for VR or even the purpose of it?
So how do you help them understand the purpose of it? So the question there is, do you understand the purpose purpose of it. Because if you don't, then you're definitely not going to be able to help them understand the purpose of it. If you do understand the purpose of it, then it should be pretty easy to convince them of the purpose of it. As far as the budget, I can tell you some things. One, post-production is double. So if you're saying this would normally take us 2 days to edit, 4 days. Because the stitching process it just takes time. It's not difficult, it just takes time. As far as budget, I mean, everything else is pretty comparable. The production is pretty comparable to everything else. So your only cost to consider for budget is the camera. And the cameras are pretty affordable, honestly.
Why does the stitching take so long? Is it the processing?
The stitching takes long because it's time consuming. And then unfortunately, no matter what camera you buy, if you buy a camera, eventually it's going to be obsolete. Yay! Just like everything else. So here are the cameras that we've been using recently. This is sort of like our quick camera to get down there and get some shots. This is another example of a quick camera that does automatic stitching that GoPro released recently. One of the things that we'll use these cameras for, and you guys will get a kick out of this, when someone showed me this tip, I just thought I was the stupidest person in the world, but it's helped me so many times since. So you're like, okay, I want to use these cameras, but I want to be able to see the picture. I want to be able to see the image. On the GoPro, there's no way to see the image. You have 6 cameras. I don't know what it looks like. So what you can do is take this camera and just mount it on top right here. Then you send that image to your phone and go, oh, I love it. Great, we can record. I'm not worried. I can't tell you how much that changed my life. It's ridiculous. So that's a really good tip. You're welcome. So the 360, the Freedom 360 is a 3D printed rig. If you guys came up here, you got to see it. It's pretty cool looking. It's like a dice of cameras. It's 6 GoPros. This one is 6 GoPro 4s. They each shoot in 4K, but to do equirectangular projection, to minimize the lens distortion, we do 4x3, and it's 2.7K. So you have 6 cameras shooting at 2.7K.
You said the mounting rig is 3D printed?
Yep, it's called the Freedom 360. Someone was here the other day, someone that works with you, was showing me, because I told them, okay, each of these cameras is $500, so $3,000 plus, okay, so $600 for the rigs. Like, okay, we're looking at like, $3,600 minimum for this rig. And he's like, well, I went online and found a 3D printed model, and I printed it myself instead of buying it. And I got these Yi cameras from overseas for cheaper, and I built my rig for like $500. So if you love it, you'll make it work. The camera, the go-to now for any filmmakers is the Z-Cam right up here. It's just the camera that people are using right now, and so I got one, and I've been using it a lot. It shoots 4K, so the output is 4K, but the reason that people like to use it is because you can see what your image is. So let me go ahead and pull that up here. So you can create a video village with your 360 project so that you can kind of like oversee production and actually see what's going on. So this is the Z-Cam controller. It comes with the camera. This camera right now, it used to be $3,000. I got it for $2,500. Of course, now it's $2,000. There it is. I'm only seeing one of the cameras. There we go. Not sure why it's being funky right now. Oh, something's happening.
What are the cameras that Within used for like those New York Times? Is it something like that? Because it looked like the size of that trash can where I saw behind the scenes. they using like, is there like higher resolution ones that cost a lot of money?
There are. This is not working for me right now, so give me a second. I want you to just see that you can preview it, and as always, there is a problem. One of the things that I found is that this works really funky on PCs, but works totally fine on Macs. Alright, we're gonna try it one more time.
Was it 4 cameras?
Yeah, it's 4 cameras.
So what's the most
Oh, there
cameras
we
you can use usually?
So you can go up here, and this is what's really cool about it. You can go to. Why is it not allowing me to do it? Oh, sorry, they're not here. So there's all the cameras right there. So that's what is actually being sent into the camera. Each of these cameras, and you can see how warped it is. And if we exported this right now, we would get 4 different video files that look. This is 1 video, this is 2 videos, this is 3 videos, this is 4 video. 4 different MP4 files that come out of it. Luckily in this software they make you can click quick stitch and you can kind of see it quickly blended together. So earlier we were talking about stitch points. So if I kind of stand up here next to it and then I move over here like this, you can see right here there's like a little like a little weirdness that happens. A little warping, that's kind of where it's being blended together. So you can fix that sometimes in stitching, but it's a headache. So you want to avoid it as much as possible. So what you want to do is you want to put your talent and your subject matter in a place where it's not getting cut off, as best as you can. And so this is kind of a good way to preview that and see how it works. One of the things that's really good about this camera is that you get a lot of stats on your what you're shooting. You can change the resolution, you can control sharpness, brightness, saturation, contrast. You can shoot in Z-Log. Let's see if it'll actually work. Yep. So you can get a more raw image for color correction. You can control white balance, exposure. Lots of control for us filmmakers who like to have control.